to switch gears now, though, to the dueling spectacles in the race for president this weekend. It's your voice, your vote, and in Iowa, it was the pompadour versus the pantsuit. Donald Trump giving away free barbecue to a big crowd of fans, while Hillary Clinton held a much smaller and more sedate affair under a sycamore tree. So what kind of reactions did they get? ABC's Devin Dwyer is at the White House with much more. Devin, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dan. You know, of all the candidates in this race, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have the highest unfavorable ratings among voters, according to Gallup, and yet they're still both out front and drawing big crowds in Iowa.
A frontrunner face-off in the cornfields of Iowa.
I want to grab that corn like you've never seen.
Republican Donald Trump drawing a crowd around the block about 1/10 the size of Oskaloosa itself. Never mind that editorial in the state's largest newspaper calling Trump a self-absorbed B-list celebrity.
You know, it's a super liberal rag, not respected around here.
Trump tried to ban Des Moines Register reporters at his speech, but some made it in anyway. One tweeting, Trump staff polite, Trump silent when he saw me. The Donald energizing the crowd with his signature style. On immigration, even giving a shout out to GMA.
ABC, the big one, their cameras are setting up.
We were setting up for our Good Morning America live shot.
And two guys go running by him, and there are two other people running behind him trying to catch him. And this is the good part of the border.
Trump has the biggest lead by far of any Republican, according to the latest ABC News Washington Post poll. But the Democratic frontrunner, also in Iowa, didn't seem daunted.
I am not new to this, and I have the scars to prove that.
Hillary Clinton on the stump in a backyard, but trailed by questions about classified information in her private emails.
The facts are pretty clear. I did not send nor receive anything that was classified at the time.
Internal investigators for the intelligence community now calling for an FBI review, saying potentially hundreds of Clinton's messages as Secretary of State left national security material exposed.
This is all about my desire to have transparency and make the information public.
Now, the Clinton campaign says the State Department will make public more of Clinton's private emails later this week. They also say she'll testify publicly before Congress later this fall on the Benghazi attacks. That's just as this primary campaign is hitting prime time. Dan and Cecilia.
Yeah, more shoes to drop on this story for sure. Devin, thank you. For more on these two frontrunners, let's bring in ABC News chief anchor George Stephanopoulos, who will be hosting this week later this morning. So just a week ago, you had Donald Trump insulting John McCain's war record, and a lot of people were saying, okay, so now this is probably the end. But here he is, still going strong. So at this point in time, in your view, does he have a real chance at winning the Republican nomination, or is he going to go the way of Herman Cain in 2012?
I don't know if he'll go the way of Herman Cain, but I don't think he has a chance for the nomination. You still have these huge numbers of Republican voters who say they're not going to consider voting for him. But he is tapping into something very, very real, this dissatisfaction, this anger out there in the electorate. He speaks like an outsider. He is blunt, and that's why he's getting so much support right now. I think the big challenge for the other candidates is how not to get drowned out by Donald Trump, and how do they harness that same energy he's tapping into right now. Eventually, a lot of his vote is going to go elsewhere. No one else is able to grab that same kind of energy right now.
And George, what about this challenge for Hillary Clinton, Emailgate? It just won't go away. You heard her there adamantly denying that she did anything wrong. Is it hurting her out there on the trail?
You know, she still has a big lead over Bernie Sanders, although he's tapping into a lot of that energy that Trump is as well on the Democratic side. But clearly, you look at her general election poll numbers, the number of people who consider her not trustworthy continue to remain high. She had some polls in some of the key states like Virginia and Colorado this week where she was actually behind for the first time the potential Republican candidates. So it's not helping her to continue to have this in the news, but so far it's not fatal.
George, thank you. And Cecilia, we know you cover the Clinton campaign. You will be all over this story going forward. And by the way, George is going to have much more on the president's trip to Africa, the race for the White House, and an exclusive interview with the Attorney General Loretta Lynch coming up later this morning right here on ABC's This Week. Thanks again, George.